Hey guys, so today we have some major breaking news coming out of the 2020 presidential election, specifically the 2020 Democratic primary involving Representative Tulsi Gabbard of Hawaii. It has been reported within the last few hours that she will run for president. Take a look at this.
I have decided to run and will be making a formal announcement within the next week.
So that confirms it. She will be running. Further proof, 270 to win reports Hawaii Representative Tulsi Gabbard to seek the presidency in 2020. She will become the youngest. She will become the youngest ever president if she is to go on and win the nomination, and then also to go on and beat President Donald Trump. So that's it. So at this point, she is very unlikely to receive the Democratic nomination. She has not been included in the polling data that we have been seeing in the Iowa Democratic presidential caucuses. She has not been included in that kind of sample group of voters. So it's really difficult to know if Tulsi Gabbard would be able to actually win that nomination. But at this point, with very low name recognition, I believe the biggest hurdle by far for her would be to win that Democratic nomination. I think that winning against President Trump would be slightly easier than winning the Democratic nomination. I feel like once she gets that nomination, she could be potentially a favorite to go on and win that general election. So I thought it would be fitting to do a 2020 presidential election prediction between Tulsi Gabbard and President Trump. She is unlikely to capture the Democratic nomination, but I still thought that it would be a good idea to do so. So, starting off with the safe states. Washington, Oregon, California, Hawaii, all safe for Tulsi Gabbard. I'll classify New Mexico, moving into, it's going to work. Here we go. I will put that one into the Tulsi Gabbard column. Illinois, also in the safe column. Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut, New Jersey, Delaware, Maryland, the District of Columbia, New York, Vermont. And that's it. So 187 safe electoral votes for Representative Gabbard. And now let's go through all the safe Trump states. So Alaska, Utah, Idaho, Wyoming. Did that in a bit of a funny order, but all those states plus Kansas, Oklahoma, Texas, Louisiana. Actually, Texas would not be safe. Arkansas, Missouri, most of Nebraska, except for that 2nd District, Mississippi, Alabama, South Carolina, Tennessee, Kentucky, Indiana, and West Virginia. So as you can see, Miss Gabbard starts off with a significant disadvantage with just Mr. Trump starts off with a significant disadvantage of 125 electoral votes. Now let's go through into the likely and leaning states. So, starting off in a place where I think that Tulsi Gabbard could perhaps not do as well as some people may have suggested in the past, and that is the Southwest. I don't see her carrying the states of Texas and Arizona. Now, even though her name recognition isn't good, I don't really think that's a good argument for who would be the 2020 nominee, as media hype around the whole 2020 presidential race would increase the name recognition of that Democratic candidate who ends up becoming the nominee. But Arizona, I understand a reason why Tulsi Gabbard could appeal to them, but I feel I just don't see a state like Arizona going for someone like a Representative Gabbard. So, I see them voting for the president at this point. In Texas, I also see the president carrying the state of Texas. Representative Gabbard is not the kind of person that could have any hopes and dreams of winning in deep red Texas. So those two states, but I do see her easily carrying the states of Colorado and also quite comfortably carrying the state of Nevada. Both these states went for a weak Democratic candidate back in 2016, and I believe that with their demographic changes and President Trump's border wall, they would vote for almost any Democrat other than Democrats like Eric Holder, Nancy Pelosi, as well as some other very unpopular and people that really wouldn't do well in a Democratic nomination or even in a general election against the president. So, where do we stand? 202 for Representative Gabbard, 174 for Mr. Trump. So, next area that I want to talk about is the South, and it's definitely a interesting area, if I can say that. And I believe that Tulsi Gabbard would fail to attract African American voters in those states. For example, Florida, Georgia, and North Carolina, all of which, or at least Georgia and North Carolina, have high African American populations, and I don't believe that Tulsi Gabbard would be able to get those individuals energized. But I think that those three states would be very close. Florida, at this point, I see, like in 2018, in a Democratic wave year, the Senate race and the governor's race, both of which were expected to go to Democrats, went in the Republican column. That's no small thing. Arizona elected a Democratic senator while Florida did not. There are many other examples of that situation, and you could make a strong argument now that Arizona could be more Democratic than Florida, and in some ways that's true. I mean, they elected a Democratic senator in Arizona, the same cannot be said for Florida, and both elected GOP governors, and even though Arizona's one was much, much wider, Arizona elected a senator that was a Democrat, Florida did not. Most of Arizona's Congress people are Democrats who's going to Washington. The same cannot be said for Florida. So I definitely see Florida sticking with the GOP. What makes me a bit less a bit less firm on Florida is the fact that now former Florida felons are now allowed to vote, but I don't think that that would be enough to push Mrs. Gabbard over the line in the state of Florida. So, where do we stand? 202 for Tulsi Gabbard, 234 for Mr. Trump. One more state in the South, is the state of Virginia, and I see that one easily going into the Tulsi Gabbard column by about 7 points. I don't think that it would be very difficult for her to capture a state like Virginia, considering that it is moving towards the left at a rapid rate. Now, so 215 for Gabbard, catching up somewhat to Trump's 234. Now let's go up into the Northeast. So Pennsylvania, New Hampshire, and Maine. Pennsylvania, I'm going to do last because it kind of leads into the Rust Belt. So I'm going to start off with New Hampshire and Maine. So Maine, an interesting state, divides their electoral votes with 2 electoral votes for the overall state winner and then 1 for each of the congressional districts. I believe that Miss Gabbard would win that Maine at large by approximately 10 points. That first district always goes to the Democrats. That would move into the safe column. And then that second district, though, I still think Mr. Trump could narrowly carry that. In New Hampshire, I also see the Democrat Tulsi Gabbard carrying the state of New Hampshire. I see her carrying that by a comfortable margin of about 4 points, but still could be classified as a swing state. So, in the state of Nebraska, I see that one being extremely tight, but at the end of the day, I see this one narrowly going to Mr. Trump. Now, hear me out, because I think it's going to be very close. Now, in Nebraska's 2nd District, they nominated Kara Eastman as their candidate to go on and try and take down Republican incumbent Don Bacon. I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce his name, but and that was very interesting to watch. But Kara Eastman came up short, and so I don't think a similar candidate like Miss Gabbard could be able to win that second district. I think she could narrowly lose that second district. So we have a few states left, 6 more states that will decide this presidential race. So since you already kind of know what I'm going to go, I'm going to start off in Iowa. I think the president could hang on to his base there and win that state. I definitely see the president having an advantage in Iowa. The same can be said for the state of Ohio. I see the president also carrying Ohio with its 18 electoral votes, but I see him carrying it, but I'm not comfortable enough to put it in his column because I think it's going to be very close. Let's see if we can put it in there. Perfect. So 18 electoral votes. It is too close to call. But for these 4 remaining Rust Belt states, Tulsi Gabbard, all Democrats really need to do to win back the White House is get a candidate that can win Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania. Tulsi Gabbard can do that, and I believe that she would capture those 3 states, with Ohio being a pure toss-up. So that's it for today's video, guys. Thank you guys for watching this video. Comment down your suggestions below. Just to reiterate, this is a prediction, but the main news is this. Take a look.
I have decided to run and will be making a formal announcement within the next week.
Whoa!
So, Tulsi Gabbard, again, running for presidency of the United States. Unlikely to win the nomination, but still could have an impact in that race. And there is my 2020 election prediction between Gabbard and Trump. So that's it for today's video, guys. Thank you guys for watching this video. Comment down your suggestions below, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.